Alright, anyways. Okay, so, these are really, really old Kingdom Archaea bacteria. Kingdom Archaea bacteria are those that would have evolved on planet Earth when planet Earth was not a very nice place to live. We're talking about maybe like 3-4 billion years ago. We're talking about living in a really hot place with methane in the air and acid and blah, 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 like living in a really, really crappy place. So these are the ones that are able to live in those places. These guys do have a cell wall. And like I said, they're going to live in very harsh conditions. So they live in harsh environments. There are many different kinds, so I'm going to give you some examples. I've got thermophiles. What does thermo mean? Heat. And then what does phile mean? Light. So thermophiles like heat. So volcanic vents, very hot places that no other organism lives in. Everybody should be writing. Some of us are chilling. No chilling. Okay. Then I've got some that are called acidophiles. Guess what they like? Acid. So they live in very acidic environments. Places that would obviously burn us, they can live in just fine. And then I've got some that are called halophiles. That's kind of a harder one. Anyone guess? Halloween? No. Not lights, but I like where you're thinking. Salt. Halo means salt. Yeah, halo means salt. So they live in very, very, very salty environments, places where we would just kind of dry up and die. No, not like salt lake. Like there are organisms that can live in salt lakes, but I'm talking about like salt flats, places where it's just a chunk of salt, and they're just kind of living their best lives in it. Last example, methanogens. Methanogens live in like swamps and sewage. They produce methane. So that's the reason why swamps and sewage sink. It's these guys. So swamps, sewage. So most important to highlight, grab a highlighter. Most important to highlight is that they live in harsh environments. They live in harsh environments. Places no one else could live in. So we're talking about if there are Martians, that's them. These are Archaea bacteria. So if there's any life on like Pluto or Neptune or Venus or anywhere else, it's them. Because they can live in harsh environments. Okay? Alright. Moving on from Kingdom Archaea bacteria, we're going to move on to Kingdom Eubacteria. Kingdom Eubacteria are all the bacteria that we're used to seeing and we're used to talking about. The bacteria that live on your skin, live on your clothes, live everywhere in the air, blah, blah, blah. The normal, common bacteria. Omni, put your cell phone away. So the normal bacteria, the ones that don't live in harsh places. Do they have a cell wall? Guess what? Yeah. And that is made of a weird name. This is a particular carbohydrate, so it's made up of peptidoglycan. That is a mouthful. So these guys have a cell wall, and that cell wall has peptidoglycan in it. It's a sugar. That the evolution of peptidoglycan cell walls for eubacteria has allowed them to survive viral attacks, survive our immune system attacks. It makes their cell walls better. These guys live in common places, so in normal common places. Some of these guys cause disease. So, like E. coli is an example, or Salmonella. But not very many of them. Some live in symbiosis with other organisms. So we talked about nitrogen fixing bacteria in the nodules, root nodules of legumes. So they live there, living their best life, fixing the nitrogen for the legume, and then the legume gives it a home. We also have bacteria in our gut as human beings. That bacteria helps us to digest our food. It also helps us to helps our immune system. So we produce a lot of our vitamins with that bacteria. And in fact, the healthier your microbiome is, the healthier the bacteria in your gut is, the skinnier you'll be. Just putting that out there. Yep. So that's one of the biggest issues that we're seeing a lot in America, is that our microbiome isn't so good, so our weight has increased quite a bit because we eat a lot of processed food here. Oh my. All right. These can also be used to produce yogurt. Yes, there's bacteria in your yogurt. And cheese, yes. Sour cream is sour because of the bacteria. Sourdough bread is sour because of the bacteria. And it is all delicious. You know you like it. It's delicious. Cheese is delicious. And buttermilk, yeah. But I don't, what do you use buttermilk for? You drink buttermilk?
I told y'all.
I'm gonna let that one go. We're just gonna let that one go. But we still love you. All right. All of these guys are unicellular, right? So all bacteria is going to be unicellular. All right, so that's bacteria. Let's move on to Eukarya. How many kingdoms are there in the domain of Eukarya? No. 4. I don't know how long we were going to go with that. Jamie, put that cell phone away.
Wait, now what is that? Oh, I'm thinking the time.
So for your test, you need to know your kingdoms. You need to know their characteristics. Definitely know Archaeobacteria and Eubacteria, but let's go through these 4 that are eukaryotes. Okay. So what is the lowest kingdom in Eukarya? Lowest kingdom? No. They're actually pretty high, believe it or not. Protists. What did I tell you guys to remember about protists?
They can be bacteria.
No, they cannot be bacteria. They are not bacteria. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, they're unicellular. I thought everything that's unicellular is
No.
bacteria.
No. No. Okay, so what I want you to remember about protists, to help you remember, these guys are pond scum. These are pond scum. So you go to the pond, you see the top of the pond, you see all that slime and the green stuff and the brown stuff and the blah, blah, blah. Guess what? That's the protist. Those are the protists that you can actually see. But if you took like a drop of that water, put it under a microscope, you see a way more of it, a whole lot more of them. Most of them are unicellular. They do not have a cell wall, so no cell wall. They can be unicellular, or guess what? They can be multicellular. They can be autotrophs, which is to say that they make their own food. They can be, or they can eat their neighbor, and they can be heterotrophs. There are some that are both. So the euglena is actually an autotroph by day. So it photosynthesizes during the day, and it eats its neighbors at night. So it's a cool little one-celled organism. Okay? Some cause disease. So your example would be like the brain-eating amoeba. You guys have heard of amoebas that...
Oh, there were those in the water when we had that small pond.
You guys have heard of the amoeba that eats your brain cells, right? Yeah, they can be in water parks, but they can also, mostly they're going to be in like lakes, wherever there's still water. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium, and Plasmodium is also a protist. African sleeping sickness is caused by a protist, so some of them can cause disease. So your common examples: euglena, amoeba, paramecium. And so a lot of times you'll get like a question and it'll have a picture of a protist. This one would be like a euglena. You'll see that it has a nucleus and a nucleolus. It's got membrane-bound organelles, all that good jazz. It also is going to photosynthesize, so guess what it has? If it's photosynthesizing, what organelle does it have? Chloroplast. A lot of times they'll give you that picture and they'll say, okay, is this a eukaryote or a prokaryote? Your biggest hint there is that it has a nucleus, so it's definitely a eukaryote. So, boom. But that is a euglena. Moving on. What's above protists? What's the next kingdom above? Not quite. Fungi. Good. I like to say fungi, but whatever. Fungi do have a cell wall.
Yes.
Yep. And that cell wall is made of chitin. It is a sugar called chitin. These guys can be both unicellular, like yeast, and multicellular, like mushrooms. Yes. I'll put or there so you guys don't get confused. And then I'll put either right here. Either unicellular or multicellular. These guys can only be heterotrophs. They're heterotrophs all day long. Okay, so they can only be heterotrophs. So in fact, if you're looking at mushrooms, the top of the mushroom that you see, that part that gets you an extra man on Mario Brothers, that one, that part is just the fruiting body. The majority of the actual organism is underground. And so it has kind of like these little stringy, almost root-like system of what we call mycelium. And what that mycelium does is it just absorbs nutrients from the ground. Guys, get your fingers off those cell phones or I'll shove them up your noses. All right. Some are decomposers. Some cause disease. Can you give me a disease-causing fungus? Foot fungus. Perfect. Athlete's foot. What else? Huh? Well, they're all yeast infection. Good. You laugh, but you know a diaper rash is nothing but a yeast infection, right? Yeah. Ringworm.
Oh, tapeworm.
Not tapeworm. Tapeworm's actually a worm. So, anybody ever get ringworm?
No, that's nasty.
No, it is not. That is a childhood disease that everybody should get because you should be outside playing. And that's what's wrong with y'all's generation. You do not go outside and play and you don't get ringworm. There's something wrong with you.
I don't roll in the mud and get
You don't roll in the mud. Y'all spend too much time on the inside of your house so you don't get ringworm. You've never had a tick on you. I bet nobody's ever had a tick on them. Have you had a tick? Okay, if you haven't had a tick yet, something's wrong with you. You've never been bitten by an animal, something's wrong with you.
Y'all ever got chased by a dog before? You ain't lived till you got chased by a dog.
This is true. A pit bull. You gotta get chased by a pit bull.
Who hasn't? Like especially the stray dogs in the neighborhood just chasing you all the time. Does he live in the ghetto? I feel very offended by this.
I'm very terrible. All right. What's up? Okay, what's above fungi? Which kingdom comes next? Not insects. Plants. Good. Very good. Insects are animals. Now I'm going to write kingdom plantae. Kingdom plantae. That's kind of weird. It's not just plants. Why? It's scientific, and that's going to be in what language? Latin. Good. Do plant cells have walls?
Yes.
Good. Does anybody remember the sugar that's in plant cells? Not glucose.
What?
It does end in ose.
Oh, cellulose.
Cellulose. Good. So, I'm sure that all of you guys go home and eat a well-balanced snack.
I love
that has lots of cellulose in it, like, celery and apples and stuff, right? Because you're trying to maintain a good microbiome so you can be healthy. Yes. Anyways, cellulose is fiber. Only in Miss Johnson's dreams. These guys are only multicellular. Only multicellular. These guys are only photoautotrophs. What does that mean? What do they do to get their food?
Eat the sun.
They eat the sun. Okay, what do we call that? Photosynthesis. Good. Yeah. That's a great question. Actually, the Venus flytrap only sucks out the nitrogen from the fly. So it still does photosynthesize. These guys are sexual, so they have sex. They're doing a lot of it right now. So when you go outside and you're rubbing your eyes, it's all that plant sex in the air. That is. Pollen is just plant sperm. So when you get that pollen in your nose, alright, that's easy. Example, I just put trees. I know I'm very allergic to plant sperm. I don't like it. I don't like it. But the bees love it. Y'all are disgusting. Alright, I'm just highlighting the ones that I know that we're going to struggle with. So those are the ones you definitely have to study. Last one. Final one and best one. What's the best kingdom? The most evolved? Animalia. It is. No cell wall. All multicellular. All multicellular. Boom. All heterotrophs. All sexual. Animals have sex. Of course they do. I'm going to give you some examples that you didn't know were animals. You ready? Coral. Coral's an animal. Coral's a cool animal. When you get an opportunity, watch a video and watch them eat. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's cool. Yeah, I can. Yep. When you get an opportunity, watch a video of coral eating. It might gross you out just a little bit. You might have to, puke. They eat each other. Because they get really irritated when another coral is next to them. So they're like, and just eats its neighbors. Okay? Hey, check it out. Children. No, we're not. You have to know the aspects of all the kingdoms. The ones that are the toughest are the bacterial ones, so the 2 bacteria kingdoms, and the protists. The rest of them are relatively easy, but you got to know the characteristics, okay? Take out the bug activity.
Wait, what's that?
The one we just did, Nut. The bugs. The bugs. Oh gosh, why don't you just do TikTok? Do a live TikTok.
And I can have this food.
Guys, I know you know what these bugs are, but we're gonna pretend like we don't know what these bugs are. Like we're on a planet, a new planet that has these bugs. We don't know what they are. So let's all pretend together. We don't know what these bugs are. Good? Alright, so let's look at the one that's right above the letter A. The one with the smiley face on it. See it? its name because we don't know what it is. All right, number 1. Does it have legs? Yes or no?
No.
No. So what's its name? Oh my God, it's an earthworm. All right, let's go to the next one. We don't know what it is.
Right now, right next to it.
You can write it down. You want to the next one? We don't know what it is. Does it have legs? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, so go to 2. Does it have 8 legs or 6 legs?
Yes.
It has 8 legs, so what's its name?
A spider.
Alright. The one that's right above the letter D. You guys see that one?
Yes.
Does it have legs? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, so go to 2. Does it have 8 or 6?
6.
So go to 3. Does it have wings or no?
No.
No, so it's a...
Ant.
Good. Okay, so we're going to go to the one that's right above the letter F. Do you see the one that's right above the letter F? Cell phone, John, over. Alright. Does it have legs? You can't really see them. Yeah, you can. Never mind. Does it have legs? Yes or no? So go to 2. Does it have 8 or 6? 6. Go to 3. Does it have wings? Yes or no? Yes. So go to 4. Does it have a single set or a double set? Single set, so what's its name? Fly. Jonathan, put my marker down. Let's take one. Put the marker down. Alright. Next one, right above G. Does it have legs? It does. Has legs. So go to 2. Does it have 8 or 6? What do you think? 6. So go to 3. Does it have wings? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So go to 4. Single set or double set? Double set. So go to 5. Does it have straight or curly antenna? Straight. So what's its name? Dragonfly. Last one. Does it have legs? What do you think?
No.
Butterflies have legs. So 2, 8 or 6. So go to 3. Does it have wings?
Yes.
So go to 4. Single set or double set? Okay. And curly antenna or straight? Curly. So its name is. Does everybody see how to use one of these? I know that was super easy. I did it. Now let's make it harder. Find the assignment that has a staple in it. You can put that one. Find your lab partner, and you're going to answer all the questions on the front, obviously. So you're going to flip it over. Find these are salamanders, not lizards, right? Because salamanders are amphibians. Yes, Ms. Thompson. Okay? You're going to use the dichotomous key to figure out the names of these salamanders. So it's not going to be as easy as what we did on the floor. Okay? So use the dichotomous key to figure out the names of salamanders. Then, listen carefully so you don't miss anything. You're going to write their name on this chart. Common name and scientific name. And when you write the scientific name, you're going to write it correctly. Correctly. Underlining it and everything. Okay? Got it? I want you to stop right there today. You're going to do the rest next week. Go make it happen. Where's my marker?
They're in there.
Where's my marker?
That's like the sound.
Jamie, where's my marker?
do you know the gills are present?
Oh, that's a great question. Hey, guys, pause. The gills stick out like feathers.
Oh, those. All right.
Yeah, the gills stick out like feathers. And by the way, H-I-N-D spells hind. So those are back legs, hind legs. Oh, crap.